welcome to another episode of Why Jesus. I know you're all eagerly waiting to meet our young guest on today's show, so let's welcome Vinita from Dubai. Hi, Vinita, welcome to Why Jesus.
Thank you, Vijay.
Vinita, can you share a little more about yourself, what you're presently doing, and you said you come from Dubai. Maybe you could tell us a little more about Dubai as we kickstart today's show.
I'm Vinita, and I was born and brought up in Dubai. I work as an administrative executive in a company back there. It's a foods of trading company. And Dubai is a nice place to be in. You have a lot of things to see and all, especially the Burj Khalifa and all. It's quite famous, and the Palm Dubai and all that. So it's a fun place to be.
How's the heat? I hear it's very hot.
It's very hot.
It is?
Yes, it is.
Is it as bad as the heat here in Trivandrum?
Here in India, it's very humid. It might not be as humid there, but it's hot.
It's hot. But I guess there's air conditioning everywhere,
yes,
so you
yes.
don't really
So
feel
you
it
don't
as
really,
much as
yes.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said you were an administrator, right? So that's a big responsibility, and you're so young. How do you handle that?
Oh, well, I really don't know, but anyways, it's God's grace that somehow that we are able to go through it.
God's grace, that's something different. I don't hear that often. It's my MBA degree. So you said God's grace. Can you tell me a little more about what you mean by God's grace?
What I really mean is that there might be certain things that you might not be able to do, or there might be certain responsibilities given to you, and it might be more than your capabilities. And I know I'm not really capable of all that, but to face them, the only way that I'm able to go through is by praying to Jesus. Every day, the moment I start my work, I start my day by praying on my seat. And my colleagues have come around asking, hey, what you doing? You praying? And then instead of wishing me good morning, so they first see me praying there, so so now everyone knows, yes, that's her regular routine. So that basically helps me push through a day. Maybe there might be a tough day ahead of me, but I am able to go through because of Jesus, who is there with me in every step.
Now, you said that it's because of Jesus. How did you find this Jesus?
Well, being born and brought up in a Christian family, we go to church on Fridays, so we go to our normal Christian denominations on Fridays and all. But apart from that, we go to a fasting prayer ministry that's called as Word to World International Ministries. So that is a place that's where I've actually experienced Jesus. Everyone says, yes, God is there, Jesus is there, He's there to help you and all. But until and unless you really experience Him, you never know who He is. I had been going to this fellowship from, you can say, from the time I was born. My parents were in this ministry, and as a child, I used to go and come back every day. It was just a normal thing for me. We used to go there on Saturdays and all. But it was just that for me at that time. But I reached a point wherein I had an experience to know that, yes, Jesus is not a myth, it's not a story, but He is an experience, He is living, and He is someone whom you can know only if you really taste Him. There is a verse in the Bible, taste and see that the Lord is good. So without an experience, nobody can really say who Jesus is. So it is through this fellowship that I was able to know who Jesus is, and how I was able to experience the great love and compassion of Jesus.
Now, Vinita, you said that you have to taste for yourself. So what was that particular experience, or what was that incident that made you taste and see that Jesus is good?
Well, it was during my high school. As usual, kids, they are more concerned with exams and maybe some sort of a sickness or something. So once for one of my half-yearly exams, I just could not remember anything that I had studied. I was totally blank, and the night before, anything that I had already learned before, I was never able to remember. That's when we called up Brother Uncle, that is Brother Dr. Matthews Verghese. He's the most venerable prophet. He leads this ministry here. So we called him up, and Brother Uncle told me, hey, don't worry, just close all your books and go to sleep. I was like, I don't remember anything that I have studied. How can you just say that close your books and then go off to sleep? But then somehow he just pacified me, and I listened to him. I just shut all my books and went off to sleep. And then I did my exams, the results came out. I just lost 2 marks, and when I told that to Brother Uncle, he was like, do you want more? So it's like someone's there to pray for me, and that is the beginning of when I started experiencing Jesus. I started experiencing him in small ways. Like, I can never claim that it just happened suddenly or something big happened in my life, but it was through these small things that I came to know about him. And Brother Uncle has played a very big role in helping me find and experience Jesus.
Now, Vinita, you said that, especially about the exams, I'm sure now if I need to write an exam, I think it sounds good if I could call Brother Dr. Matthews Verghese and get a prayer, because it seems like it was very simple. You went to sleep, caught up on your sleep, and went to the exam, and you got your scores.
Yes.
Well, how would I be able to meet this Brother Dr. Matthews Verghese?
Well, in Trivandrum, in Kerala, there is a center called as Word to World Center. That's the place where you can reach him. He's always available, in the sense there is a website where you can reach him through, that is through the www.w2w.tv, and there is a special column there called as prayer requests. So if you have some sort of a prayer request, you could just put it through and it reaches him, and he will definitely pray for you. And it has worked miracles in my life. I'm sure it will definitely work in the lives of others also.
I'll definitely keep that in mind, Vinita. Vinita, you sound so confident about your faith in Jesus, but has there been any time in your life where you've questioned your faith and you've kind of fumbled in your belief in Jesus?
Yes, there has been many instances where I have thought, is Jesus real, or is it just something that you are forced to believe? I've reached so many points in my life for that, but I would like to just tell something that just happened recently. I lost my dad a couple of months back. My dad, he has been sick for quite some time, and Brother Uncle knows about it. We basically share all our problems with Brother Uncle, and he advises us on certain things. He prays for us and helps us to move forward. Now, regarding Dad's case, he had already warned us about him from the beginning of 2017. We've heard it, yes, but I had known my dad's situation was getting bad, but I hadn't taken it much seriously. But in September, we had come to India, and that's when Brother Uncle had told me very seriously that my dad's system is going down. So he kind of like hinted me to be prepared. Okay, that's also another thing, but then I was more aware of it because he was having certain difficulties during that time. But in October, my dad and mom had come to India for his routine checkup, and they had come first to see Brother Uncle, and that's how they usually go for my dad's checkup. They first see Brother Uncle, pray, and then go for the checkup. Now, when they had come to Brother Uncle's house, that's when my dad fell sick, so he had to be rushed to the hospital. But before going to the hospital, Brother Uncle was the one who prayed for my dad, and at that moment, he had really known what was lying ahead of us. So I hear from my mother that Brother Uncle had prayed to go to Jesus to extend his life for some more time. And I was back in Dubai, and then I also rushed to India, and we were under treatment for my dad. And during that time, the first 8 to 9 days, my dad was in the ICU, and it was like just half an hour that we were able to spend per day with my dad during that time. And he was in a very bad situation, but at times when his readings and the reports were becoming somewhat normal, and we used to keep updating brother uncle about it, and brother uncle used to call us from whatever part of the world he was. He used to keep on checking on us, and he used to keep praying for us whenever we used to go for any test or anything. Even when we used to tell him about the reports and all, he still used to tell my mother that my dad's condition was critical and not to take it easily. But still, my mother and I, it's quite natural, because you still try to hold on to your beloved till the end. But that's the time. Then we moved to another hospital, and those days were very critical. My dad started becoming a little better, so we were able to talk to him. We were able to stay in the same room, and we could share certain thoughts and everything. And it was a time that I believe that was specially gifted by God to us through the prayers of brother uncle, that maybe if something had happened that night when he was with brother uncle, or in that house or in that place or wherever, I would not have got that chance with my dad. So as days passed by, my dad fell sick again, and brother uncle had known, and he had told about dad's death 2 days before itself. So we were quite prepared, and especially towards the final hours, brother uncle was the last person with whom my dad spoke to over the phone, and my dad was peaceful. You just didn't need anyone to say that he was peaceful. You just had to look at his face. It was there in his eyes. And even when my dad passed away, brother uncle and his wife, Raji auntie, as we call her, they were the ones who were really there with us when everyone else abandoned us. So that's the love of Christ, that's the love of Jesus that I have experienced through brother uncle in this fellowship. It's maybe someone can claim that yes, they love Jesus, and maybe for 1 day or 2 days or maybe a month or so, they might tell you that yes, they have the love of Christ in them and they love you, and whatever may be the problem, you can approach them whatever time of the day. But as time passes by, you kind of see the change in their attitude. But this has been our association with brother uncle, and this fellowship has been for years. So this is the love that we've been experiencing all these years, in fact, and for my case, from the time that I was born. So especially during this difficult situation, it is brother uncle's prayers, his care and concern meaning it's just not just in words, but literally in action. Even when our own relatives were not there, it was brother uncle and Raji auntie who were there to really lift us up through this difficult phase. And me being my daddy's girl, you can say, it was really difficult for me to even think of a day without my dad. But all these days, or you can even say that to be able to overcome the day that my dad was taken from this earth, that's according to God's plan, how I was able to face it is only because of brother uncle's prayers, his words of consolation, and he's there for us any time of the day. You can call him up. He never looks at whatever situation that he's going through, his sickness, nothing, but he's always there with us. You can never find such a person anywhere else around. I am sure, and it's something that you really need to taste. That's what I'm trying to say. You need to taste and see that the Lord is good. So God is still good. He has given us all the blessings. Maybe for someone, death may be considered as a great curse or something that's really real bad or something, but I would say that the death of my dad was a great blessing, because as per the doctors review or as per their instructions and their readings to us, they were saying that my dad will go into a coma. But my dad was conscious till the very end. He didn't go into any coma. Brother uncle was there to support us. He said, you don't have to worry, but he kept on telling us that the time is at hand. So that's one of the ways in which you can say that how I have tasted Jesus in my life, especially through the most difficult time that we've been going through. And it is the grace of God, His great mercy and compassion, that we've been able to come up. And if I am sitting here, it's the prayers of brother uncle. And if I have the courage to come up and say that yes, the Lord is good, is because the Lord has been very good. And I'm able to say this because of brother uncle's tears.
Vinita, I'm so sorry to hear about the loss of your dad, but it's amazing and it's really inspiring to hear how your faith in Jesus and the love that Jesus has shown through the person that you mentioned, Dr. Brother Matthews Verghese, has really motivated you and uplifted you and has created such hope in you. It's really touching to me and it's amazing. It's just wonderful. You said to taste it, I just feel it sitting right here, Vinita. Vinita, now you did mention before that your colleagues or co-workers actually looked up to you or looked down on you saying, oh, what are you doing, praying? So what do you feel is the experience that youngsters today have if they kind of manifest or show out their faith in Jesus?
Well, honestly speaking, it's not quite easy to manifest your faith outside, especially to the young crowd. The first reaction that they have is, ew, really? Why Jesus? That's the kind of reaction that they have. But people go out, you spend time with your friends, you go out for a party and all that. That's the way in which the youngsters nowadays have found, or a way in which they feel that they can release all their stress, or how they feel that they might be able to face their challenges or any problems or anything.
Now, Vinita, you said face the challenges or the problems that they face. So what, in your opinion, being a youngster, living out your life as a youth out there, what are the challenges or the problems that the youth today face?
Well, there are many issues that they have. Mainly, they have a lot of pressure. First, let's say from the part of their education, they have a lot of study pressure and they're not able to face it. Or maybe if there's a lot of competition out there, it's like they're competing with someone else. It's not with themselves that they are focused on. So if they see that someone else is improving much more in life, or if they're attaining something else, they feel inferior or insecure, yes. So that's the time that I feel like maybe they might jump into suicide attempts and all that. So that is one main thing. You hear a lot of suicide rates increasing back in India and elsewhere. So that is just one of the reasons, and maybe there might be some problems with their relationships with each other, might be between friends or with family. So they have a lot of communication problem. They're not free with each other, or even if you are, the other person might not be the same way to you. So they do not know, even if they're faced with some sort of a challenge, they just don't know how to move ahead, or they don't have the courage to just let go of it and move on.
Vinita, you rightly said, like the rates of suicide among the youngsters today is ever increasing. So what do you think is the solution for all the problems that the youngsters face today?
I feel that the youth nowadays do not have the mental strength that is needed to cope with such challenging situations. Like if suddenly, if they're faced with some sort of a problem, they do not know how to overcome it. And the main reason that I find that this might be happening is because they are mentally troubled or you are not calm inside. If you need that peace, you can really not find it in some pub or with some friends, or maybe if you go to some club or something. You might try those things, but you really won't be at peace. That's when Jesus comes into play, or the spiritual aspect is something that keeps you calm and motivated and keeps you hopeful to move ahead despite any difficulty. So listening to gospel music, that's something that is different from the normal the Bollywood or the Hollywood kind of a music. If there is any kind of a stress that you are facing, gospel music is something that helps you come out of it. The lyrics or maybe the music itself, it just helps heal your mind, and you are more hopeful to face the day or maybe whatever may the problem be. That is one example. Another one is meditating on the Word of God. It's the Bible, of course. Maybe certain things that your friends or maybe your close relative, someone who might not be able to tell you or help you with that particular situation, you can definitely find it in the Bible. So spending time with God, praying, that definitely helps you calm your mind. It gives you a better perspective. Sometimes you might reach a situation where you really don't know why certain things are happening to you. That is really something that God is taking care of. And there has been plenty of opportunities in my life where I have experienced it. I used to think at certain points, why is this happening to me? Or why is God quiet? Where is He? But maybe at that point of time, you might really not be able to see Him working, but as time passes by, you really understand why God did not do something there, or why He did something there instead of something maybe you really wanted. So what I would like to say is that you need to trust in God, and putting your entire trust in God is something that is really difficult. It's easy to say but difficult to do, but give it a try. You'll be able to experience it as how I've experienced it, especially these past couple of months.
Now, Vinita, do you think the Christian churches today are effectively tackling the issues faced by the youngsters today?
Honestly speaking, I don't feel so. Even me going to buy my own denomination, there, okay, we go for the Holy Mass. We listen to the priest's sermon, which might be just 5 to 10 minutes, and then we go back home. If there is some problem that I am facing, I literally have no one there to share it with. There is no advice there is no one from whom I could take an advice from. So I am basically lost. So that's where this ministry has played a very important role in my life. Certain things where I really don't know, that's when Brother Uncle, whom I've just mentioned before, he's always there, and no matter what time of the day, he's always there to give you the best, and that is through the advice of the Holy Spirit.
Now, Vinita, how do you think the churches around the world today can really be effective in understanding or dealing with the problems of today's generation?
First and foremost, I feel that let's just term the priests as the shepherds. They need to spend more time with their congregation, or with each family, you can say. They need to go deeper into the problems of the people. That I really don't find it happening back in my place, but here with Brother Uncle, he knows each and every person who comes there, their problems, their difficulties. So it's like we have a personal relationship with him, and we know and we have that trust and confidence in him, that whatever may be the day, whatever may be the time of the day, or whichever part of the world you are in, you know that Jesus is there with you through him to answer your problems.
Now, has there been any person who has really influenced you in your spiritual walk with Jesus? Any role model that you look up to, someone you want to be like?
Definitely it is brother uncle himself, but I really don't know if I can ever be like him. It's something really above my capability and all. But anyways, he's someone who has been through a lot. He knows all the difficulties that each person is going through, plus he himself has been through a lot of challenges. What really inspires me is that even in the midst of so much of problems, you can see that I describe it as a heavenly smile. Whatever may be the problem, he's not bothered about it. He's just focused on Jesus, whom he has experienced. He's trying to share it with each and every one of us. And that's something which I lack. Maybe I've not been able to share it with someone else, but what I feel that I need to do next is to go out and share it with my friends also.
Now, if you were given a chance to change the world today, what would you do, Vinita?
Well, changing the world is a little difficult, but I feel that the people nowadays, they're very lonely inside. So you need to talk to the people around you. You never know, maybe someone might be just smiling and sitting there. You never know the difficulty or the problems they might be having inside. So you can just start small. That's more than enough. If each one starts small, the world would definitely be a better place to live in. So you could just go and share, just talk a hi or a hello or something. You need to have kind of like a friendship or something with the people around you. You never know. Maybe just a smile from your side might be something that lifts that person up.
Vinita, as we conclude today's show, what piece of advice can you give today's generation?
Well, thinking of an advice to give this generation, you might have a lot of things available to you. You might have a lot of friends. There might be people there with you, who is there with you through thick and thin, but there might be certain times or points in your life where you really understand that it's only you and Jesus that's there. Once you have Him, you are able to face any problem. So instead of asking why Jesus, I would ask you, why not Jesus?
Vinita, thank you for sharing such wonderful experiences.
Thank you so much.
And spending some time with us on Why Jesus. We wish you best of luck for all your future endeavors and plans.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, friends, for joining us on one more episode of Why Jesus. Please stay tuned for another episode and join us next time. Same place, same time next week. Thank you.